I call Gareth Hughes.
The Chair, ngā mihi nui kia koutou. Kia ora. I want to pick up on the member Dr Megan Woods' point on biofuels and support her supplementary order paper. Urge the national members to support this. I was privy to the discussion on the Select Committee, and I'm trying to recall the reasons for opposing it. So I'm going to pick up on a couple and urge the national members to support that, because biofuel, as Dr Woods says, is a fantastic opportunity for us. It was one of the parts of the Pure Advantage report where we picked out $6 trillion market that we could be accessing, something PricewaterhouseCoopers says is potentially a $22 billion annual economic opportunity for us. In a carbon-constrained world where even the International Energy Agency are advising governments like ours, we can't afford to burn 2/3 of the proven fossil fuel reserves we've already discovered, let alone trying to find some more deep off our coasts. The world is crying out for sustainable solutions like biofuels. When I was in Beijing many years ago, there was 550 cars per day entering Beijing's congested roads. We're seeing a Chinese automotive market which could be larger than the entire world in a matter of years. Finding sustainable solutions to power people to get around their cities or towns or countries is critically important. And I like the idea that our country could be playing a role. Now, I urge members to support this SOP, because what we're sending is a very important price signal to those people like Z Energy contemplating or committing to tens of millions of dollars of capital investment in biofuel infrastructure, others around the country which have been picked up on, those entrepreneurs, those researchers, those people maybe you're thinking about getting a Callaghan R&D grant. Those people will be negatively affected by the uncertainty that this signal sends. Now, as I said before, the latest data has shown that production of biodiesel has declined massively from 1.2 million litres in 2007 to only 0.24, so less than 1 million litres in 2013. Over the same period, we've seen production of bioethanol increase marginally, but down from its heyday. We've seen production of biofuels obviously increase and total consumption decrease over that period. We've seen successive policy changes over the time add uncertainty, adding a price signal by exempting other forms of fuels, but not biofuels, as a counterproductive step. Members over on this side acknowledge there is a price signal. Now, I pointed out how minuscule it was, but I would also want to challenge some of the logic. Now, if we're trying to make oil cheaper, artificially, be it subsidies or some sort of command and control regulation, what we're doing is sending a very strong signal to people to consume more of it, which of course is going to cost more in the future. This is why the International Energy Agency is calling on powers to cut some of the $610 billion annually spent on fossil fuel subsidies, because what we're seeing is a perverse negative feedback loop where more fossil fuels are burnt, more carbon emissions, more negative impacts. So I'd urge members to support this SOP. What we want to do is support a flourishing biofuel industry where we can export some of the intellectual properties, some of the products potentially. With the world counting down the months to the all-important Paris climate talks, biofuels can play a critical role as long as those criteria I elucidated earlier are met, which is net negative emissions, doesn't compete with fossil fuels, it doesn't compete with agricultural land and food production, and is actually sustainable. There's great work being done by Kiwis across the country to invest in biofuels. We want to support them, and that's why the national members, I'd urge you to support it. Now, I want to challenge the logic of the opposition, because one of the arguments on the Select Committee, I understand from officials, one of the arguments was that biofuels are still a liquid fuel. The argument from national members is biofuels are still a liquid fuel, requiring oil stocks to be stored overseas. So it's fair and commensurate that biofuels should pay this levy to supply the tickets. Now, it doesn't make sense. We know that biofuels reduce our dependence on imported oil. We know that biofuels increase our resiliency. We know biofuels support flourishing regional economies and local jobs being created. And I'd also challenge you, because there's quite a contradiction. When you look at electric vehicles, the national government, to their credit, and I give them credit, have removed the road user charges from electric vehicles. Electric vehicles are another significant opportunity for New Zealand to save money, save carbon and grow jobs. And when it comes to eliminating the road user charges, Mr Chair,
Stuart Nash.
Mr Chair. Mr Chair,